movies. I'll be fighting for Signs. You'll be fighting for
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Have a movie that is based off of your movie? No.
And my movie makes me want mashed potatoes. What are we doing here, man? What are we doing?
What's up, YouTube? It's Drive By Movies here, and you are watching
Screen Scuffle.
My name is James.
My name's Blaze.
And today we are bringing up a fun concept. We're talking about alien movies. Specifically, I'll be fighting for Signs. You'll be fighting for
Close Encounters of the Third Kind, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yes. And what kind of brought this up? I guess the movie Nope. I went in expecting Signs, but we got a movie more reminiscent, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So that kind of just brought up the concept of like, what are the better alien movies out there? Like, you know, there's great movies like The Thing that are out there. That's one of my favorite films of all time. Some people might argue E.T. is their favorite alien film, but we wanted to get something that were like two completely different movies where we're really competing like apples to oranges right now. And I thought this was like a good one for us.
I also feel like they're similar in the sense that these are directors that had directed a couple pictures before, but then these are the movies that like became a phenomenon. Like everyone needed to see Signs like when it came out, and same thing with Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Even though I wasn't alive at the time, I'm very aware that this is like really what put Steven Spielberg on the map.
Yeah, so with Signs, getting into this one though, this is a very personal film for me because this is the movie that kicked off like my horror like fixation and love. This is the first time I enjoyed being scared, but also hated it with all my might too. It was the first movie I remember seeing in theaters and just not being able to sleep at night. Like I literally was so scared. I wanted to sleep in my sister's room on the floor just because I didn't want to be alone. I was so nervous. Like any sound I heard coming from there was like, alien. So horrified. I think I'd seen a few horror films before then. Of course, I loved all the Universal monster movies, but escalating that to this, nightmare feel. And this is like M. Night Shyamalan at the top of his game. Like Tim Burton, his strongest movie was Ed Wood, and this movie, like I don't want to really talk about like his other movies just because like M. Night Shyamalan movie's not that great, but like this was his like highest high. I feel
it's
like
a peak. It's for sure a peak, but I will say he peaked even before this movie. Like this
really?
kind of like, for me, I just felt like there's some things in Signs where I'm like, where Close Encounters of the Third Kind kind of hits on every single level, and it's literally Steven Spielberg at the top of his game. I think a lot of people would agree with me that this is one of his best films ever made.
But it's not though.
It might be
Compared to Jaws.
It's a question, but I don't feel like M. Night Shyamalan like M. Night Shyamalan's peaks are nowhere near Steven Spielberg.
Maybe so. I mean, I love The Sixth Sense. I think The Sixth Sense holds
That is
up.
not even debatable. Sixth Sense is M. Night Shyamalan's best film.
I'd say maybe Unbreakable. Well, Unbreakable is probably my favorite film by him.
Let's just agree that
Signs.
it's not Signs, though.
Okay. But let's agree. I don't know how you're going to fight and say Close Encounters is Steven Spielberg's best movie. It's good. It's got a memorable score, I guess, but it's not really even a score. It's just like...
It's one of the sickest, like movie tones. If you were to play that on the piano, it's pretty much 3 keys, 3 or 4 keys. If you play that, pretty much anyone recognizes like, oh, that's Close Encounters.
Why is the movie so long though?
It's part of the ambiance. You gotta just breathe it in, because it's one of those movies where it is a little bit on the longer side. I would agree with that, but it doesn't detract from the movie being good. There's some movies where it's too long. Where it's like you needed to cut 30 minutes and this movie would have been better. This is one of those where I'm like, it's longer, but honestly, like even the fact that when they show the aliens, it's like everything I want when I see an alien. They show the aliens in Signs, and that's everything I hate. Like I don't want an alien to have fur. I hate it. I just hate everything about that.
Fur? What?
The aliens are like hairy and
No, they're not. They're like reptilian.
No,
you
they
need
have
to rewatch
fur.
Signs.
They have fur. They're
I've
like
seen
straight up
Signs
furries.
so many times. There is no fur. They're like reptilian based.
I swear they have hair.
No.
That's standing up on the back of their necks.
I mean, maybe, but no, they're very like skin.
They look reptilian, but I swear they're furry.
Yeah, they just look like the typical
Okay,
alien
the
thing,
main
yeah.
problem is they look like Greedo. Like, that's the problem for me.
I'm trying to remember what the aliens look like in Close Encounters. I remember they have like long necks, kind of.
They have long necks. Like, they kind of look like the Gray Man style of alien. Like, it looks like a typical alien with the kind of like.
Well, mine's the Green
face.
Man style alien.
Nah.
It's very reminiscent of the X-Files style aliens. If you ever saw the movie, the X-Files, the movie and stuff, it's very reminiscent of those style aliens.
One of the best things that Steven Spielberg does that's better than anything M. Night Shyamalan does is he always shows, like, as little as he can, like, gives you just a little bit of taste, you know, just a little taste. Just a little wet.
Does in my movie.
No,
like,
he gives you too much. Like, you're seeing the full alien, like, walk through scenes. Like, you have the Mexican birthday party.
That's out of focus, though.
Let's let the elephant in the room. A lot of people say, "Oh, that's the scariest scene I've ever seen in cinema." Okay, well, you've only seen 12 movies, so that doesn't count. You know, like I feel like a lot of people always reference that's one of the scariest scenes I've seen in any movie. It's like, go back and watch that scene. It's not. It's just really like dorky.
It's the nostalgia that's hitting for that scene. But I'd say there's way scarier scenes in that movie to begin with.
What?
I think the biggest jump scare in the movie is there's a monster outside my room, can I have a glass of water? And then the dad looks out the window and you just see a shadowy silhouette on top of the barn, and like I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
That same scene is done better in Close Encounters. That same style of scene. That's just overdone. This in Close Encounters, you have the little son and he's like playing with all his toys and his cars are lighting up and moving around the room. It's very, very Poltergeist-esque energy.
Oh my God.
It's like unnerving, but it's not like, it doesn't cross the realm into being too scary where you get uncomfortable. Like, you get that in Poltergeist, which could be debated to be another Steven Spielberg movie.
Does your movie have a movie that is based off of your movie? No. Jeff, Who Lives at Home?
I watched Signs again last night. It keeps getting better every time I see it.
Starring Jason Segel and directed by the Duplass brothers is
also Scary Movie 3. Also Scary Movie 3 is based off.
So why don't you just worry about you and I'll worry about
And that's a negative. Let's be honest. That's the worst Scary Movie.
Well, the fact that I have an indie mumblecore film based off of Signs.
Scary Movie 3 is not an indie mumblecore movie.
I'm talking about Jeff Who Lives at Home. That movie is like all inspired about signs. The opening scene talks about signs.
The first time you watch it, it's kind of hard to understand what it's about.
I think he's just talking about Signs, not like the movie Signs.
He talks about, I just watched Signs last night, and it's...
Yeah, but it's the same thing of like in What About Bob, where he just keeps saying baby steps.
Baby steps through the office, baby steps out the door.
He didn't even read the book, Baby Steps. He just took the title. Like, Jeff does the same thing where he's like, signs means signs, which doesn't mean anything.
I also got an argument with you, too, though. Like, I'm atheist. I don't give a about God and all this stuff, but why does this movie like make me almost believe? Oh geez.
And my movie makes me want mashed potatoes.
Oh, I forgot about that. The mountain building scene.
So ultimately my movie, like the fact that you'd want mashed potatoes from how epic
I want
that
corn.
scene is.
Corn crops all smashed in this movie.
I will give you the corn, like the cornfields and like that whole, like that wasn't something that we had seen in movies. I feel like before, and that's a very iconic thing. But that's all a hoax.
At the end of the day, we can all say aliens in general are a hoax. I actually kind of believe in aliens, but yeah.
So you just disregarded the fact that you called it a hoax. Yeah. Exactly like your argument.
Well, what makes Signs unbelievable though in general? I mean, I guess we're kind of getting off topic with the movies, but
okay. One of the things I hate the most about Signs is just the fact that the whole plot revolves around like glasses of water, and then at the end it all comes to like the aliens are hydrophobic essentially, and I feel like that's such a, it's like one of those twist kind of endings that's not even like a good twist. It's just like annoying.
Yeah, but it all pertains to just like believing in God and all that stuff, with just like, oh, like everything was meant for a reason. His wife was meant to die and he always hated God for it, but then it was meant to happen because she gave him words of just like,
Kill me or I'll swing away.
It's just too heavy-handed. I just, it's so heavy-handed.
But it's still a very digestible movie though. Like for a movie that's like only 100 minutes and everything, like it still comes off as a satisfying horror film, but still has a very deep meaning that can dissect that you
What
can
are we
dissect
doing
in a
here,
film
man?
class.
What are we doing? You know Close Encounters is better than Signs.
I disagree 100%. Yeah. This is actually one where I'm like, yeah, Close Encounters is great. It's not Steven Spielberg's best, and Signs, I think, just does
It's
everything better.
debatable if it is definitely up there with being Steven Spielberg's best.
It's debatable, but it's not though.
But you know Sixth Sense is better than Signs. That's not even question. You even said Unbreakable, which a lot of people don't like.
is my favorite of the
Yeah.
bunch, but I'm not saying it's the better of the bunch though. Joaquin Phoenix is so good in it. Sadly, I have Mel Gibson in my movie. That's not helping. But also, you have also the guy. What's that?
There's no
actor's name?
Cosby in this, so don't try and throw that at me.
We have a actor who's not like always the greatest dude.
Richard
Dreyfuss.
Dreyfuss.
All right. Hey, I don't need this.
He might not be the greatest guy, but he's gave us some of the greatest performances.
Yeah, Jaws, his
seen
best
Poseidon?
movie. Yeah, Poseidon. He's in that movie. Yeah,
The Poseidon Adventure,
Yeah.
the remake.
yeah.
Another great
Oh, I
remake.
thought he would have been in the original. He's in the remake too.
Anyways, we're going to throw the mic over to producer Jordan to see who won this hot screen scuffle. Jordan, who do you think won? Do you think James's argument about Signs or my argument about Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
I want to give it to James, but I'd have to give it to Blaze just because there's Mel Gibson.
Yeah, Mel Gibson was just done. And you're the one that brought that up, so that's just all.
I don't know, man.
I've dug myself into a hole with that one. I should have just brought up Joaquin Phoenix. Oh, well, let us know what you thought about who won this argument in the comments below. Tell us what movies you think would make a great screen scuffle, because we enjoy doing these.
Yeah, I definitely think of off the beat kind of topics for movies that would be kind of similar, but then kind of not, but great to match up against each other, as you saw in this episode of Screen Scuffle. Anyways, guys, tune in for the future for a new episode of Screen Scuffle.